The following is a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ-FM, Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Good morning, I'm Brian Akers, and welcome to our show, Winning in Retirement. Today with me is Jeff Akers. Yes, we share the same last name, but we do not share the same parents. He's my cousin. He's the vice president of Akers Financial Group, certified financial planner practitioner. Been working together for over 20 years. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Good morning. It's good to see you. We share a set of grandparents, and our fathers are brothers. Hence, we have the same last name. That's kind of how that works out.
I'm glad you're able to explain what a cousin is. That's a really good start to the show. But guess what today's show's about? Many people don't know what the show's about, so we say it. So here we go. The show's topic is this: don't be naive when you receive. If you have an inheritance coming, don't ever just say, send me a check. Don't just say, here's my bank account, I'll just transfer the money there. How you receive it is very important, and why this entire show will be about inheritance, about how to give, but mainly how to receive inheritance, because it's a big deal over the next 2 decades. Is that correct, Jeff?
It is a very big deal. There's some statistics out there that talk about the wealth transfer that's coming from the baby boomer generation to the next generation. And it's estimated to be about $30 trillion. That's trillion with a T. So that's a lot of money that's going to be transferring from one generation to the next. And so it's something that a lot of people are going to face in the coming years. So you want to make sure you're making good decisions when it's time to do that.
It's very odd that that amount of money on the wealth transfer is equal to the United States national debt. Right now, the estate tax laws are about 11 million plus each person that you can give upon your death and avoid estate taxes. We believe that estate tax will become one of those taxes that get added on as a way to try to pay for what's needed when it comes to paying down the debt or making the budgets work here in the future. It's not going to happen right away, but sometime here in the future. All right, so here in the first quarter, we want to proceed with caution. How many of you grew up with bottles under the sink with a sticker with Mr. Yuck? Maybe if you're young, I'm not sure if Mr. Yuck's still around nowadays. Now they got these things you can lock the cabinets, which is an amazing trick to keep kids away from certain bottles. But Mr. Yuck was a sticker. Up top it said poison help, had Mr. Yuck with his tongue sticking out and he looked really sick. And then a phone number you could call, you say what they digested and then they would tell you what to do. Imagine today's show is this: inheritance help. And then we have Jeff's picture. And then we have a phone number underneath, and that phone number is 833-946-7384. 933-946-WIN-RETIRE. It's 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's the Akers Financial phone number. We also have a website, akersfinancialgroup.com. You go there, and you can get that inheritance help. We have many scenarios to cover, many situations to read today. But when we're thinking about it is this: if you're going to receive an inheritance, proceed with caution. You need to stop and call a financial advisor to guide you into receiving so that you don't pay many more extra taxes, fees, or do it wrong and not receive money the way you should. Jeff, what is your advice on some basics of that?
So a lot of times folks hear the tax number is so high, so they're like, oh, so I'm not inheritance tax. The estate tax, the federal estate tax is so high, so I'm not going to be subject to that. But there are other taxes that come into play. Some things, when you receive them, are subject to regular income tax. And there are rules on how to take those out, and we'll get into those a little bit. There's also some things that when you receive that are not subject to a regular income tax. So we want to know what those are. So the first thing to do when someone passes away, there might be an inheritance coming. It's kind of an emotional time. So take your time, figure out what it is that you have, and then figure out what's the best way to get that transferred to you. because we want you, the person that was listed as a beneficiary maybe, or listed in the will, we want you to receive as much as possible of what the person who was leaving it was giving to you. They didn't leave in their will and pay this much to the federal government. They said, we want this to go to this person. So we want to make sure we can get as much into your hands as possible. And that's why it's important to see a financial advisor, talk to us about what it is. We can look at statements. We can get things figured out and help guide you through the right process to do this. But it's an emotional time, so you don't want to make snap decisions. You want to do it thoughtfully and carefully.
Right. So sometimes what happens is this: someone in your family might pass away, and then there's basically a person that has been selected as the executor or trustee of the estate. And what they do is they start to call the beneficiaries, and they're notifying them that inheritance would be coming. And what happens is that will sort of trigger a process of, how do you want this money? And things like that. These are all very important pieces. But let's start with some simple basics. If you are a named beneficiary on an account, then receiving that money is going to be your responsibility, where you're going to need a statement. We're going to have to get paperwork, claims paperwork. You're going to have death certificate, and you have to have IDs and everything for you to receive that money. But you, as being a named beneficiary, will need to fill out that form. And we help our clients, and we help people that give us a call on how to do this so you can receive it properly. Now, when we're doing this, that death certificate is usually comes about a week to 10 days after someone passes away, typically ordered by the funeral home. And many times we'll get a phone call, right, Jeff? And the client will say, this person passed away. How many death certificates should we receive?
Right. And just a simple rule of thumb, this doesn't apply to every case, but it's usually in the neighborhood of 12. But we need to look at what accounts there are, because each company is going to need a copy themselves. And there will be one that's needed for the federal government for taxes, as well as the state government for taxes, because the person who passed away is filing a final tax return, and so they will need one as well. And sometimes that gets overlooked.
Yeah, so the death certificate question is one of those things that occur right away. The other thing that we recommend that you do is you go to AkersFinancialGroup.com, and you go under documents, and you'll see a paper that's been put together. And that paper is, for, if somebody passes away, is a survivor's checklist. It's some basic information that you should have all together. Now, this is not a bad thing to do early. To do it when you're doing your own estate planning is to go through that list, fill out the needed information in case someone in your family has to take over because of a sudden death. It's very good to have your wishes and your decisions written out. That can be through a will. A will is instructions for probate. Probate is a probate court, you've heard of that, and the register of will helps us move money from one person to the other through titling and changing, which is done through a process called probate.
Right, and probate does have a cost associated with it. It's not a tax, it's not an estate tax or an inheritance tax, but there is a cost associated with probate. So anytime someone passes away and they owned something that did not have a beneficiary or did not have a joint owner, it will have to go through probate. And that will, like Brian said, is going to tell the probate court what that person's wishes were for where that money should go. So there's a whole process with that. You end up with a letter of administration, which tells all the financial institutions that as the executor, you have the right to act on those assets. So you can sign things and take care of settling the estate.
Yeah. As the person that's designing the estate plan, and if that's your plan, what you want to do is think about how do you want things to flow. We call that estate flow. How do you want money to be processed, and who do you want to receive it and when? Very big decisions that are done during financial planning. Many times this is done in the first few meetings of any financial planning agreement, no matter what age, because many people, when they come see us, they don't have this set up. So what happens is this: if we don't have wills, the state has a process. What we want to do is decide these things for ourselves. Now, we talked about don't be naive when you receive. So it's a little bit different take on this. If you're the person receiving it, you need to know also what they had, and you need to know where the money is. One of the most important things to do is to make sure you have access to their email, access to their electronic accounts. Also, you need to not throw any mail away for up to 3 years.
Right. We've had cases where someone thought that their mother had passed away, and she thought, okay, I've got everything taken care of. Then like a year later, a statement came in the mail, and it just so happened that mom owned a stock that the daughter didn't know anything about. So she had to reopen the estate to process that one stock. And it was a big surprise to her, and it was just a little bit extra to go through. But if she had not caught what came in the mail, then that stock would have gone to the state as unclaimed property. So that's why you want to keep an eye out on the mail and make sure that you've got everything lined up and taken care of so that nothing gets left behind.
It's very good every year to go to the Maryland State Unclaimed Property website and see if your name or if one of your friends or family are on there. It's fun to call a friend or family, or in our case, a client, and say, hey, your name's on the unclaimed property. Won't you check that out? And boom, they find a little bit of money that was left behind. We've also learned through the years that you should do this in any and all states that you were a resident of. One of my favorite clients, I actually don't have favorite clients, but one of my very fun clients, she lived in California, Ohio, and Maryland. And through the process of moving, there was trails of gold left behind. And we ended up finding about $13,000 through unclaimed property, which is sort of the neatest little story. It took a long time, but it worked out very well. All right, so this show today is this: don't be naive when you receive. And the reason is this: we want you to win in retirement. You need to have everything organized in your own financial life. If we get sudden money or have any type of situation where money's added to our accounts, what we want to do is then put it into our retirement plan and plan our financial life out. Not just have a good day, let's have a good life. So retirement planning and inheritance all comes together in proper financial planning. Give us a call at Akers Financial Group to set up your time to go over this for your exact situation. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule a phone meeting, virtual Zoom meeting, or an in-person meeting, mass to mass. Not doing a lot of those right now. We're sort of waiting to spring. But give us a start. You go ahead and call us now for that free initial meeting at 833-946-7384 or go to AkersFinancialGroup.com. Never say, just send me the check. We'll explain in the second quarter.
Hi, this is Jesse Cunningham, the owner of Mountain View Insurance, and we are proud to be affiliated with Akers Financial Group. We, too, base our business on integrity, service, and acknowledge that every client's insurance needs are unique to their own situation. At Mountain View Insurance, we specialize in car insurance, home insurance, and umbrella coverages, all designed to protect your assets that you've worked so hard to earn. When serving our clients, we focus on creating a protection plan that is appropriate to your needs. After we determine the correct plan, we then go to shop for you. Mountain View Insurance is an independent insurance brokerage, and that means we have access to many top and regional insurance carriers. Let us build an appropriate and affordable insurance plan for you, and give us a call directly at 410-262-3176. Once again, that's 410-262-3176. This is Jesse Cunningham, owner of Mountain View Insurance, and I look forward to hearing from you.
You are unique. Just as no two fingerprints are alike, each individual's financial situation is uniquely their own. That's why the Akers Financial Group's team of advisors begins each relationship with a proven process that identifies your financial fingerprint. We'll guide you through a series of steps designed to provide a complete and accurate snapshot of where you are right now. Everything we learn about your financial fingerprint will become part of a detailed financial plan created especially for you. We'll never give you a cookie-cutter proposal or suggest a one-size-fits-all portfolio. The financial plan takes you from where you are now to where you need to be. Begin by discovering your financial fingerprint right now by going to getmyfinancialfingerprint.com. That's getmyfinancialfingerprint.com.
Member FINRA SIPC. You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to the second quarter of Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers, and here with me today is Jeff Akers. I'm certified financial planner practitioners for Akers Financial Group. We are licensed stockbrokers. We are investment advisor representatives. We also have life and health licenses, and we've been working with clients throughout Maryland and throughout at least 20 some different states that we're licensed in and work with people in, and I think 6 or 7 different countries right now. Our clients are working all around the world, even through over the last couple of years, all the things that have been going on. All right, today's show is don't be naive when you receive. If you have an inheritance coming, don't ever say, just send me a check. Don't just say, here's my bank account number, just transfer the money there. How you receive is so important. So important that you need to pay attention to this entire show or go to our website, akersfinancialgroup.com, and listen to parts of it over and over again to understand what we're saying so that you'll understand the importance of talking to a financial advisor before you take basically receive that inheritance and bring it into your own accounts. All right, the question coming into the second quarter is this. Never say, just send me the check. What do we mean by that, Jeff?
All right, so we said before that there's about $30 trillion passing from the baby boomers to the next generation. And a lot of that money is in a 401k or an IRA, and that will be taxable as regular income. So if you're named as a beneficiary, you're receiving money from someone, and it was in an IRA, when you say, send me the check, like Brian just said, the company's going to say, okay, and they're going to send it to you, and you're going to get a 1099-R, and that entire amount will be taxable as regular income. Just like your paycheck is taxable, it will be taxable like that. So that could bump you up a tax bracket. It could mean that you're paying a whole lot of taxes all at once. And there are other ways to take it. When there's an IRA, you have up to 10 years to take that money out. There's a way to do that. And by doing it that way, you spread out the amount of taxable income, you can keep your tax bracket lower, and you can minimize the taxes. In that 10 years, you might have a year where something happens and your income goes way down, and we say, well, let's take extra during that year. So it's important to not just sign lump sum. That's what you'll see on the forums a lot of times is lump sum. Don't just take a lump sum. Let's figure if there's a way to minimize your taxes going forward in any given year and spread them out over the time that we have for each investment.
All right, so these are retirement accounts, and these were accounts that where money went in pre-taxed. Typically, these accounts started back in 1983 when ERISA created the 401k, where we could put money in, and we would do a pre-tax, save money, and then pull money out in retirement at a lower rate. As we, under all these new rules, as we hit 72, we got to start taking withdrawals, but then there's some money left over. And typically, in all retirement accounts, we want everyone to have primary beneficiaries and contingent beneficiaries by name. By having name, then they're able to do something with that money as they receive it. The first case I'll just cover is a spouse. If you're a spouse, you have the right to transfer the one spouse's IRA into your account, and you take total control. You do not have to do a 10-year rule. You have a lifetime of taking withdrawals whenever you want, but once you hit 72, you will have to watch that you reach a minimum as you take that money out. If you are there's some special exclusions, but if you're, let's say your kids or niece or nephew, anybody like that, and you are named as a beneficiary and they call you and say, oh, you have an account here, you're a beneficiary, what do you like to do with it? Do not say, just send me a check. The reason is this. you will pay taxes. You'll get a thing called a 1099-R the next year if you do something different. And that's called a beneficiary deferred account, a beneficiary IRA. What happens is the deceased person, you can use their information and set up a beneficiary IRA where you as the beneficiary can stretch this money over a 10-year period. You do not have to take it out every year, but within 10 years, it all has to come out. This applies to anyone that passed away in 2020 or 2021 or in the future. It does not apply to anyone that passed away prior to 2020. There was older rules that were grandfathered in prior to that. So let me try to keep this a little simple. Don't say, send me a check. That's as simple as we want to get here. You need to do some investigation on what is the taxation. Should I withhold tax as I do the withdrawal? Should I not get a full check without tax withholding? Because if I get that net check and I have fun or, buy a car, pay stuff off, all of a sudden I'll have a tax bill. One of the cases of the last couple of weeks, I had a client whose parent passed away, and they had a retirement account, and they ended up owing about $28,000, which didn't seem like a lot of money, but that'd be $9,000 in Maryland and federal tax that they had already spent the $28,000. So it's interesting on some newer clients where when inheritance comes, they sort of just take the money and then they call the advisor after it. And what our advice is this: let's not do it that way. Let's change the order. If it's like a caution tape when you get a call about inheritance. You say, all right, stop. I need a financial advisor to help me guide through this, no matter what size it is. Because we want this inheritance to not just be a good time for a couple months. We want it to be something that changes your financial structure, that might set you up for a great financial life, rather than just a financial good month.
Yeah, sometimes when someone passes away and you're named as a beneficiary, the company will send you a stack of forms, and you'll get these forms from every account that you're named as a beneficiary on, and it can be pretty intimidating. So Brian mentioned earlier about the Mr. Yuck sticker and, calling to get some help with that. Well, let those forms, those packs of forms, when they show up, let that be kind of that caution sticker, and say, all right, let's call, get some help, make sure we know what this is and how we're going to take it. We talked about IRAs and 401ks. Something else that sometimes folks inherit could be an annuity, and we call it a non-qualified annuity if it's not in an IRA. And there are different rules with regard to that as well. You can take a lump sum. Most of the time you can take a lump sum, but again, part of it is going to be taxable. The interest that's been earned over the year is going to be taxable. So we want to know how much that is. What's the tax consequence going to be? And there are ways to stretch out how long you can take that non-qualified annuity, the money out of there. You could take it out over 5 years. There's even a way to stretch it, and we will allow it, where you can stretch it over your lifetime. Even now, I know they changed the rules for the IRA back with the 2020 change, but there's still a way to do that with non-qualified annuities. That hasn't been changed yet, and so some companies are still allowing that. So that's a way to stretch the taxes out, not pay it all at once, not jump up a tax bracket, and not get caught by surprise the next year when you get those 1099s that Brian was talking about. 1099-R that says, well, here's the taxable income, and it turns out you didn't have any taxes withheld from it. And then you do your taxes and realize how much you owe to the state of Maryland or to the federal government, the IRS.
Now, this is very important because tax rates are like steps. If you go and imagine running up steps, picture you're in Philadelphia and you're there at the what's the big building where Rocky has a statue? It's an art building, I think, in Philadelphia. But the steps there, if you think about those steps, there's a lot of steps. So there's not that many steps in the federal tax code, but there are a few steps. When you make money and then you add a sudden lump sum on top of that, you could go up a step. An example for a joint filers, or you have two spouses filing, you could go from like a 12% to a 22% bracket just by going from like $8 up to beyond $80,000. Also, as you get higher, above 170, you could be from up to 24%. If you get into the 300,000 range, because you took all the money at one time, you could be in the 32% bracket. So the reason you want to be careful about saying, just send me a check, is that might make all the taxes appear in 1 year. We'd rather spread it out, lower overall taxation, make sure we have a tax plan that ties with the receiving of the money. Don't be naive when you receive. Understand that there could be a taxable event. There's some cases where there's not a taxable event. What are some of those, Jeff?
So if they had just a regular account, like a stock brokerage account or a bank account, that's not taxable as regular income when it comes to you. Now, on the stock side of things and investments, you do get something called a step up in cost basis, so that when you sell whatever that is, it will be subject to capital gains. But the capital gain will be very small because of that step up in cost basis that was received. We have a case where somebody's owned a bunch of stock for a long time. There's a huge gain in it, and he's just not going to sell that stock because he knows when he passes away, there'll be a step up to the current value, and his wife or his kids could sell that stock then and not have to pay the capital gains tax.
Yes, so stocks, that's individual stocks, mutual funds, anything in equity like that. Even real estate counts when it comes to holding title in the person that deceased name until the day they pass away. There's other problems if you add a name prior to death, which take away from the step-up in basis. Step-up in basis is very, very important to understand how it works with what you own. So a stock account that's held jointly, it gets a step-up in basis. A stock account that's an IRA does not. The IRA tax laws apply to it. So try to understand, don't be naive when you receive. Understand what's going on when it comes to your finances. Akers Financial Group, we are a local independent company. We don't report to some big company on Wall Street or some big, large internet company or a hedge fund or anything like that. We have offices in Forest Hill, Lutherville, and also meet with clients through virtual meetings from all over the country. This talk, this financial planning, is all about your retirement. It's not about us. To begin winning in retirement, call Akers Financial Group to schedule that free meeting. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, you can leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule a phone meeting or a virtual Zoom meeting. Start planning for your retirement now. Call us at 833-946-7384 or visit us at AkersFinancialGroup.com or check us out on Facebook at Akers Financial Group. Will your heirs get what you give? Do you get it? Well, we'll cover that in the third quarter.
Imagine you're retired. You wake up in the morning and you don't even know what day it is. Every day seems like a Saturday. You can sleep in, cook a nice full breakfast without thinking about morning traffic or work deadlines. The Saturday calmness you used to crave is now your everyday feeling. You're not worried about your retirement income or how your investments are doing. Your biggest decision that day is where you're going to drink that first cup of coffee. Is that the kind of retirement you want? If it is, then sit down and talk with the team at Akers Financial Group. They want to help you get there. They've been helping families in Maryland plan for retirement for over 30 years. Call to schedule your complimentary meeting at 833-WIN-RETIRE. The number again is 833-WIN-RETIRE. Start planning for your retirement now. Call 833-946-7384. Member FINRA SIPC.
Long before 18-year-old Brooks Robinson was signed to play third base, and years before Natty Boh began brewing at the corner of Conkling and O'Donnell Streets, Baltimore families relied on the Evans family and the Evans Funeral Chapel and cremation services to help them during some of their most important family moments. Hi, I'm Charlie Evans, and for 4 generations, my family and I have been there for families, providing care and compassion in their time of need. Evans Funeral Chapel and Cremation Services provides the best facility, staff, and personalized service for your family. We have 3 convenient locations to serve the community: Parkville, Forest Hill, and Hereford. For more information, visit us online at evansfuneralchapel.com or call 410-665-9444. Evans Funeral Chapel and Cremation Services, serving Baltimore families since 1865. I invite your confidence.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the second half of Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers, certified financial planner practitioner, and here with me is Jeff Akers, also a certified financial planner practitioner from Akers Financial Group. Today's show is this: don't be naive when you receive. If you have an inheritance coming, don't ever just say, send me a check. Don't just say, here's my bank account number, just transfer the money here. It's very important that you know how to receive and how to give. The third quarter here is another very important topic, and what we're covering this quarter is this: will your heirs get what you're given? Get it? What do you think about that one, Jeff?
So at halftime, we kind of adjusted what we're going to do. We've been talking about the person receiving. This quarter, we're talking a little bit about the person who's giving and making sure that the people who are receiving get what they want and they get it the way that you want them to get it. So we've talked a little bit about some taxes, and we mentioned the inheritance tax and a big limit there. I was thinking, I heard on the news this past week that Prince, when he passed away, he didn't have a will. And so the people that he might have wanted to receive things aren't going to receive what he would have wanted. Now, there are a lot of attorneys involved, and they're going to receive a lot of money out of that. They get paid hourly through the process, and so everything's going to go through court, and it's just going to be an expensive process. We hear all the time about celebrities who die with a lot of money and they don't have a will. So the simple thing, the first thing that you can do is make sure that you have a will in place that details who gets what and how you want things to go. Along with that is check your beneficiaries. Make sure that your beneficiaries are who you think they are and who you want them to be. We don't want your heirs to find out later on that, oh, you made your ex-wife the primary beneficiary and your current wife gets nothing. So be sure to check your beneficiaries and make sure that things are going to go the way that you want them to go after you've passed away.
So basically what Jeff just said is this: check your beneficiaries. There is a thing that banks change names, they change position, they merge. Have you kept up with your balance? Have you kept up with your accounts when it comes to beneficiaries? Have you truly looked at your accounts at each and every place you hold it and asked, who is my beneficiary on that? Can you send me a copy of it? You'll be amazed that some of them might not have the proper records. When you see your 401k plan have an update where they go from one provider to another, make sure their beneficiary transferred properly. Doesn't take that long. Log in, hit the beneficiary button, make sure you have a primary and a contingent people. Contingent means if you and the primary have passed away, the contingent would receive the money. You want to have them by name when it comes to retirement accounts. So imagine that you've been spending your life saving and investing and growing your wealth, and you've been extremely successful. You've worked very, very hard. Everyone in this situation has this process in their mind, well, I want to leave a legacy. I want this money to live beyond me for people to use or to give to charity or to give for certain situations. Whatever your wishes are, an estate plan can be designed to make that happen, but only if you do the work while your mind is right and while you're alive can you set these up. These things just don't happen, and you can't just put it on like an executor. Oh, they'll handle it after I pass away. What you got to do is think about it. Not a fun thing to think about. No one wants to talk about that. They all want to talk about, I want to retire. How should I invest my money? How should I do this? But when you start talking about the other side of it, where we don't stay retired, we pass away, This happens to all of us at some point in time. What we have to do is look at where will our money go, and is that what we really want to see happen? Do we want our 15-year-old kid to receive a $3 million life insurance policy? Probably not, right? You might not want them to get it at 20 or 25. And as you think about it, 30, 35, 40, you keep running the table up. All of those situations are where you can design a properly drawn estate plan to handle that. Some of the things that we've seen as mistakes in estate planning is, first of all, just not doing it. You heard Jeff explain certain celebrities. They're famous, and the reason that we know that is because probate is public information. Why do we know that Elvis's estate makes so much money every year? It's because every year Elvis's estate has to file a tax return, pay 45% to the federal government out of what they profit, and it's all public information. We can avoid public information through the use of properly drawn up trust. There are a lot of sophisticated ideas out there, from wealth replacement trust, irrevocable trust, all kinds of ways to make money do what you want it to do. Do you want your heirs to get it? Do you want them to get what you're giving? Make sure this happens.
Another mistake that I see is folks say, well, I've got a will, so I just went to my 401k and made my estate the beneficiary of my 401k, because then my estate knows who the beneficiaries are. Well, when you do that, you take away choices for the folks that are inheriting that money. The estate is going to have to pay income tax on that money coming out, and the opportunity we talked about earlier to stretch that out over 10 years, the beneficiaries aren't going to have that opportunity. So make sure, we're back to the beneficiaries, make sure that they are who they need to be for a proper estate plan going forward. Now, while you're living, you can give money to other people, to folks that you want to give money to. And you can give up to $15,000 in a year from one person to another and not have to file anything tax-wise. There's no gift tax return or anything like that. So if you're married, you can give $15,000 and your wife can give $15,000, or your spouse, I should say. I might be talking to the ladies out there. So you can each give $15,000, and then that's $30,000 going to a person. Now, that's a situation where you've got that kind of money to give, but that is available to you. We talked about the estate tax exemption being over $11 million, and that's great. There might be very few people who cross that threshold, but if you do cross that threshold, then you'll want to make sure that you've done whatever you can to minimize the amount that's going to be subject to that. Brian also mentioned the idea that estate taxes might be increasing in the future. One way they could increase that is by reducing that estate tax exemption. So we need to keep an eye on those numbers as we're going through this process and planning so that we make sure that your heirs are receiving what you're giving.
Yeah, well, you covered a lot of topics there, Jeff. I'm going to just summarize a couple of them. One was some people put estate down as the beneficiary. I've seen this usually in a situation where you buy auto and homeowners insurance, and then the agent talks you or tells you to buy a little bit of a life insurance policy, and then you buy a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 policy, and then they usually write down estate as a beneficiary. I've seen that over and over again in my career, and it's like, stop it, don't write estate. Whenever you write the word estate, you tell it to go into probate. You tell it to go through the public process. Now, probate can be easy, but it also can be very time-consuming and have costs to it, depending on who handles it and how hard it can be. Life insurance simply is one of the best things to give and to receive. An example is this. We had a client, they called. Their father passed away in his 90s, and he had a policy of $750,000. He had 3 children. They're all right around 70 years old. They get the death certificates, submit them in. They each get a $250,000 check, entirely tax-free. They could got a check, right? They all got money market check, a checkbook on this money market where this $250,000 drops in there, totally tax-free, totally liquid, all within a couple weeks. It was an amazing situation of an explosion of value. So this father had bought that policy, let's say 20-some years ago, put money in, $150,000, almost $200,000, but it exploded into $750,000 of tax-free money. So when you think about it, if you're a great saver and you've been building and accumulating your wealth, and you're like, man, I really want to leave something to my kids. What if we converted some of that money into tax-free, liquid money for your heirs? Now, this can be designed in the estate or outside the estate, depending on how you structure it. Also, depends on how you do your large estates. When we cut down celebrities and their estate planning, there's one family that did it extremely well, the Forbes family. The Forbes family fully funded their wealth replacement on transfers of wealth throughout generation with life insurance. Hundreds of millions of dollars of life insurance was how the Forbes family passed their wealth to keep the wealth in the family. So there is some very sophisticated financial planning and situations where we can design whatever your wishes may be. So when your heirs get what you're giving, they are very, very happy with that situation, of course, but they also will be able to have the money to do as you would like them to. Now, what we want to see happen is this. The money is something that you worked hard for. Make sure it's used in the way that you see fit.
Right. So this time we've been talking about taking care of your family before you pass away, making sure that it's going to pass to them the way that you want it to. The rest of the show, we're talking about that receiving side of things. And so as folks receive what it is you're giving them, you want to make sure that they're having fond thoughts about you. They're thankful that you took care of things like Brian described the Forbes family with life insurance. You want to make sure that they're going to think well about what your plan was.
There's a right way and a wrong way to give. Giving the wrong way, they'll get some of it, but not as much as they could. You give the right way, they will receive more. That's the bottom line. So when it comes to financial planning, we need to be creating these opportunities for ourselves and our families. We need to be proactive when in these situations. Not the easiest topic to talk about, but legacy and financial estate planning is an extremely important part of your total financial plan. If you'd like to sit down with one of our team of advisors, give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule a meeting. Give us a call and start now at 833-946-7384 or visit AkersFinancialGroup.com. The amount you are about to inherit depends on this. We will explain in the fourth quarter.
Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services.
Akers Financial Group was founded on the principles of integrity, trust, and service. We believe each and every client is unique and deserves advice and implementations that apply directly towards their personal financial fingerprint. This financial fingerprint tells us the objective risk tolerance and purpose of the investment and insurance tools that we use to assist our clients in reaching their goals. By discovering the purpose of each financial decision, we can help you accomplish your goals. Intelligent financial design starts with a detailed balance sheet and cash flow to know where to start. This leads to a financial decision that will allow you to reach your goals with your risk tolerance in mind. Our relationships begin with an initial consultation and grows with each meeting. We would be thrilled to work with you and begin your planning process. Call us at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-946-7384. Or visit our website at acresfinancial.com. Member FINRA SIPC.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter of Winning in Retirement. The fourth quarter is winning time, but we want your life to have a winning time when it comes to your retirement. Our show is designed to give topics and information to you each and every Saturday where you know where to go for financial information, and that's acresfinancialgroup.com. Go to our radio show. You can go to radio.com and listen. 105.7 The Fan is the best way, of course. Now, our radio show is designed to give you financial topics that matter when it comes to our retirement years. Today's show has been called Don't Be Naive When You Receive. If you have an inheritance coming, don't ever say, just send me a check. Don't just say, here's my bank account, just transfer the money there. Know before you send. Financial planning and estate planning all come together in the process of how things happen if something would happen to you. Make sure you have a properly drawn up plan. If you haven't been able to listen to all four quarters, you can go to our website at acresfinancialgroup.com. There's tabs up top there, and there's a radio tab. Hit that radio tab, you can go on there and listen to past shows. This show will be on there at the beginning of, actually, it's going to be already on there. So you go to that radio tab and listen to the show. You can fast forward. It's your own podcast that you can take advantage of there. The other thing I want you to look at on the Akers Financial Group website is the webinar tab. In the webinar tab, since last fall, we've been going and doing videos and topical videos and discussions every 2 weeks. We have one video that we did with a couple different attorneys last fall. These are attorneys Kevin Bress, a local attorney from PK Law, and then two national attorneys, Mark Perkins and Jennifer Seed, and they talked about medical directives and estate planning. Excellent webinar that we have through acresfinancialgroup.com. Under the webinar tab, you go in there, you sign up, it's immediately available. We have webinars like this on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Every other Thursday. Just check our website for more information. All right, so Akers Financial Group brings winning in retirement. Akers Financial Group, we've been around for 15 years, but Jeff and I have been working together for over 20 years. This fourth quarter, Jeff, the topic is this. The amount you're about to inherit depends on this. All right, what is this?
All right, well, it depends on having a good plan. And having a good plan depends on calling us so that we can help you develop that plan so that you can inherit what was given. You know, the last segment we talked about are your heirs going to receive what you're giving. And now we're going to talk about you're on the receiving side, making sure you receive the maximum amount that is possible through that inheritance. So the good plan is going to be going through the types of accounts. We've talked about that some. It's going to be looking at taxes. It's going to be figuring out your situation, your specific situation. I had a situation just this past year where someone passed away, left money to her daughters. One of the daughters is working but was not saving to a retirement plan at work. So we took a look at what she's inheriting and we said, okay, let's go ahead and save to your retirement plan at work, maximize that tax deduction, and then we're going to take the taxable income that your mom has left you over the years. So it's a way to transfer some wealth towards her retirement using the money that she inherited. So that's a simple explanation, but there's a plan for you, and we just need to find it, and that's what we're here to do, is help you find that plan at Akers Financial Group.
I guess in my career, there's some upsetting times, and that's where the person that sold the investment to the client that came in to see us doesn't service the investment, and then when someone passes away, they don't help with the process. Akers Financial Group, we help with that process. And the reason we do is to make sure it's done right. We want to make sure you receive the money, but we also want to make sure you do the tax planning that's involved in receiving the money. There are taxes on some of the things that we receive through inheritance. There are things such as retirement accounts, non-qualified annuities, double E bonds, I bonds, things like that, where you will pay tax on any deferred interest or any type of pre-tax investment. You will pay the tax if you receive it as an inheritance. Now, in our use of words today, we've used the word estate tax, inheritance tax, and income tax. Yes, some people will pay all three. Now, under the current scenario, over about $11.6 million, if it's beyond that, you'd pay a federal estate tax. In Maryland, the estate tax only occurs if you're above that limit. But there is an inheritance tax in Maryland if you're not a direct line descendant. So if you're a niece or nephew, you could pay 10% on that tax. Do you know in Maryland that if it's life insurance to a niece and nephew, they do not pay the inheritance tax? I think that's just a wonderful topic to know. So you know that if I want to give it to my niece and nephew, if I give them a bank account, they pay inheritance tax. If I give them life insurance proceeds, they don't. So just another idea, another thought that you need to do. So this show has been, we started out with Mr. Yuck, and we're going to end it with Mr. Yuck. There was a poison control sticker we all remember. Imagine having an inheritance control sticker. That inheritance control says, stop, proceed with caution, call your financial advisor, make sure we're going to be able to give the way we want to give and receive to handle the things that we want to do. There are some issues that we haven't covered yet that I think are very important. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen is someone will come in and says, oh, I just added my name to my mother's house. And I'm like, how long's mom lived in that house? Oh, 65 years. Okay, what'd she buy it for? Well, let's say $15,000 and it's worth $200,000 now. I'm like, okay, well, mom, she lives there. That's her residence. If she sells it, she pays no capital gain. If she passes away and it goes to you, there's a step up in basis. You don't pay any capital gain. But if you put your name on that house, half of it or all of it, before she passes away, you get her cost basis. And if you sell it, you have to pay a capital gain on the simplest thing as adding your name to an account. Have you seen that, Jeff?
Yes, I have. I've talked to people, thankfully, before they actually did that and just went through the options that they have. There are other ways to make sure that, well, let me put it this way. A lot of times folks are worried about the house going to the nursing home to pay for their care. They don't want that to happen. And so they think, well, if I give the house to my children, then it's theirs and it won't go to the nursing home. Well, there's another way to do that called a life estate deed, where essentially you're naming your children as a beneficiary. And in that scenario, the house will not be used to pay for your care, and it will go to your children, but they will still receive a step up in cost basis when you pass away. So there are better ways to take care of that issue. I know that sometimes folks think, well, it was so easy when my spouse passed away. I was a joint owner, so I'm just going to do that again. And I've heard that over and over again. But you've got to keep in mind there are some special rules for a spouse that don't apply to children or nieces or nephews or friends or anybody else. And so we need to know those rules and we need to apply them so that you can actually receive the maximum amount from an inheritance.
All right, so some basic advice today. Stop. Don't just receive an inheritance without thinking about it. You have to just stop and think, get the information together, design a plan on how to receive. Most likely, we're going to want to levelize the income over a couple years to avoid extra taxation by jumping tax brackets. So let's try to avoid that the best we possibly can. It's sort of like receiving a lottery winning, you know. You win a lottery, you win a large sum of money all at once, and you have to choose. Lots of people want to take the lump sum, In that situation, you might, because you're going to be at the highest bracket forever, which is not a terrible situation, but that's what So when it comes to inheritance, the sad part when you look at stats is many people blow all the inheritance within 9 months. That's usually not the goal of the person that gave it to you. They saved it and didn't blow it. They built that assets over a lifetime, and then they give it to you, and then for the one receiving it, it's like newfound money, sudden wealth, and it basically sometimes can flow through your hands very, very quickly. You buy the wishes more than what the needs are. So understanding how to receive money is about building your own plan so that it doesn't just run through your hands and be gone. We want you to set up, we call them cash cows. You want to set aside money that will be there for a lifetime where you can milk and take income and investment, dividends, things like that over a lifetime rather than it be gone. So you need to be cautious on how you do all of this.
If the one that gave it to you planned so that you could receive the maximum, then use it and apply it to your plan. Develop a plan for you so that you can win in retirement. And that's where we come in. Stop, give us a call, let us help you receive the right amount, and then develop the plan for you going forward that takes into account your taxes and your estate plan, because that's the next thing. You know, you've been given this money down the road. You will have money to leave behind. So let's make a plan for that and do it right.
Yeah, so financial planning is a lot of different pieces. And one of those pieces is estate planning, designing how you want to give. And also, if you're on the other side of it where you're receiving, you need to understand how to receive. That receiving of investments or life insurance, retirement, can really help your financial life to your future. And by doing proper planning, you can bring that all together. We want you to not be naive when you receive. We want you to understand what's going on and the need to call a financial advisor to help you make these decisions, a coach to help guide you through. This will lead to you being able to enjoy your retirement years, to enjoy drinking that cup of coffee as you take a breath and relax during your retirement. So go ahead and give Akers Financial Group a call. Give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday to schedule a phone meeting, virtual Zoom meeting, or an in-person meeting, mask to mask, based on the scheduling of a few of those. Start meeting now with one of our team of advisors by calling 833-946-7384 or visit AkersFinancialGroup.com. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and we want you to be winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated and investment advisory services through Kalos Management Incorporated. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Advice given on winning in retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment. Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Are you reacting or creating with your investments? When you have a sound financial plan, you don't have to be reacting every day. Let us help you create. Tune in to Winning in Retirement Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 105.7 The Fan. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and investment advisory services offered through Kalos Management Incorporated, both located at 11525 Parkwood Circle, Alpharetta, Georgia, 30005 678 1100. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services.
The preceding was a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ-FM, Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates. Broadcasting from the Thompson Creek Window Company studios. Call Thompson Creek today for the biggest window sale of the year. This is WJZ-FM Gainesville, Baltimore. 105.7 The Fan, a radio.com sports station.